Put him in the common clutch and make him on the cream of the crop. Nobody does it better. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Acknowledge me.
Happy angry birthday, Cooter. Happy angry birthday. Angry Cooter, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, man.
You, Cooter. Here we are. I'm going to be 42 years old, and I'm still watching wrestling like a fucking virgin. My mom would be so proud.
Well,
hey, wait, if it's my birthday, does that mean we don't have to talk about AEW this week?
well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
No, you know, we talked off air. We talked about it. Raw has been on fire lately. Tell me about it really quick, because it's just been, it's as a wrestling fan, it's been enjoyable to at least watch Raw.
Yeah, I feel like lately, Raw is not just building towards PLEs. They're building Raw to have its own like showcases. We're getting great main events, and they're building these rivalries on Raw for Raw. And I'm just been enjoying the hell out of it. Like this whole Jey Uso, Braun Breaker. Oh my God, what a great story they've been telling the last few weeks.
New IC champion.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
A main event IC title match where if that was on a PLE, it would have got lost in the shuffle, I feel like. And the pop wouldn't have been as loud.
Main event Jay.
Yeah.
He finally got it. He
You see
finally
what I'm
got the
saying?
main event trademark for him. Perfect.
And then think of it this way. Even next week, we're getting Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. And they've been beating the hell out of each other for weeks, just randomly. And I've been loving every second of it. Like, think how they opened up Raw this week. We got Dominic Mysterio showing up in the lowrider with Liv Morgan. You know, they're going to do that long walk out to the arena. And when they get like halfway there, you just start seeing Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed beating the shit out of each other randomly.
It's great because you must not miss it because you don't know what's going to happen, and that's what pro wrestling should be, and it makes it enjoyable. You don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
No, it's been great. You know, but even growing up though, it's been trying to look at the dirt sheets, trying to look at the news and what's going on, and I can't get over it because like. We've talked about how much time we have a week to watch pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And so I didn't see that Cody Roman promo at first. I saw it on the dirt sheets.
Okay.
And it was awesome. It was like a cinematic promo.
You watched it the next day?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I saw it online. I was like, oh, I missed it because I didn't get to watch SmackDown Live. And so I saw it. What did you think of the promo though? Because it's different.
I loved it. I thought them showing up in separate. Like Roman had the whole entourage. You had the motorcade. Yeah. And Cody's like 7 cars, real subtle. You know, I was like, it was just great. And for them to have this back and forth over their history in Georgia, and I felt like Cody was kind of being a dick when he doesn't necessarily have to be a dick, but I'm kind of getting dragged in your family business. This is how I feel. I'm going to help you, but you better have my back. And it was just great little storytelling. Very different because let's go back for a second. We're used to, at the beginning of whether it's SmackDown or Raw, we get those boring promos in the ring. Oh, somebody interrupts. Oh, enter the GM, and we get some hodgepodge tag team, which is the main event for that show. And it ultimately means nothing and leads to nowhere. And this was something different. It was just really, really cool. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
No, that's it. They put the E in entertainment, right? But, going back to, like I said, the dirt sheets, right? I found this on social media. I missed it. I watched it. I loved it. And it just made me reminisce about, dirt sheets back then. Because I remember years ago, it was AOL, and I subscribed to the Wrestling Observer. And I remember, I think it was like the first thing I subscribed to ever. And I was getting these emails about, like, things that were going on in pro wrestling behind the scenes that we never heard about. I felt like so super cool to like find out the stuff, but there's been a lot of things happening this year on our Dave Meltzer, right? So Dave Meltzer, I think.
Wait. You subscribe to that?
Well, I don't subscribe to that. No, I don't. When I was younger, I did because
okay.
Like that was the only thing going on. But no, I don't.
Right.
Do you think right now with what's going on with like internet, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, just anything with social media, are we witnessing that end of an era of what Dave Meltzer was?
I think he's completely different than what he was. I think back in the day, he was considered a journalist.
Yeah.
And now I think he's just a paid propagandist.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally, I feel like he promotes things and gives them high ratings and 5-star this and 7-star that. And I'm looking at him like, did we watch the same thing? Like, yep. I don't understand. And I get it. We all have different tastes, right? And you're going to look at me and be like, well, I mean, his opinion is as valid as yours, because who am I? I mean, we're just a bunch of fans who are hanging out, talking wrestling, and in front of a bunch of random people, right?
No.
He's getting paid to do this. And I feel like, you know, he's in everybody's pockets, and whoever's going to give him a little bit of inside information, or, you know, those are the guys he's going to make look good in his newsletter, on his website, on his shows, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
It's weird to me. It's no longer journalism when it's just biased.
Sure. You know, and so we're the older marks, right? We're in our 40s. We grew up watching it in the 80s. So for younger marks out there in their 20s or whatnot, you might not know who Dave Meltzer is. So just a little brief bio. You know, since 1983, Meltzer has been the publisher and editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, a dirt sheet primarily addressing professional wrestling, shaping the way fans and insiders view the wrestling industry. You know, but however, like I said, since 2024, this year, there's been like a series of missteps, I would say, with what he's been reporting. Okay. That, you know, some fans and wrestlers are questioning his integrity and credibility. So I kind of wanted to bring up some points today. We asked our Marks group out there on Facebook. We're going to be reading some of their comments in a little bit about what they had to say on him too. So once again, you know, maybe if you're in your 40s, 30s, you probably know who he is. Mm-hmm. The younger Mark out there may not know who he is. Because like I said, I remember AOL. That was like one of the first newsletters I ever subscribed to, and I would get it, read it like after school or something, and then it was just like, oh, I knew like inside knowledge of Ahmed Johnson and like Goldust that night or something. No, it was like really old.
I was never a Meltzer guy. The only dirt sheet, and I wouldn't even consider it a dirt sheet, because I always considered Bill Apter an actual journalist.
Sure, yeah.
I always thought he was great. I mean, he would just tell you what happened at the events, very unbiased opinions. He would just do interviews and, you know, simple stuff. Yeah. None of this is what I graded it, and this is what it has to be. And it was just the facts. This is what happened. And I always enjoyed that about him.
Sure. So like I said, I mean, he's been doing it for many years, right? But 2024, there's been a lot of missteps, if you will. So let me read some of the mistakes that have happened this year. Maybe give you your 2 cents. If you don't know much about it, I'll try to give you a little bit of a story about what happened. But let me give you what's all the events that at least have happened this year from what people are reporting. So first, the most recent one was the misreporting the death of WWE legend Afa Anoa'i prematurely. I guess he said that he died like a day or a few hours, I don't know, hours before, or a day maybe so before it really happened.
For a couple of hours. That one I'm gonna give him that one, because it might have been premature, but I mean, he did pass a couple hours after. Like,
did he have to be the first? Like, even if he wasn't, like, is that what's wrong with this?
But is that in anybody in journalism? Look at Ariel Helwani. You remember? Remember the Brock Lesnar incident?
Yep.
Where he was going back to UFC. And he broke the story before they got to announce it on the pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, all right.
Do you want to be first, or do you want to be right? Meltzer don't care. He wants to be first.
Sure. Meltzer on his message board claimed to have seen an internal memo from WBD, the valued AEW program, at around $288 million annually, based on factors like ad revenue, carriage rates for TNT, TBS, and whatnot. Okay. But however, it was later reported that what Meltzer thought was an internal memo was actually just a fan estimate from a Discord group. So he got it from another
Mark
dirt
with
sheet.
a big mouth, just like me. A Mark with a big mouth.
And you know, that error led to a significant backlash. You know, as it fed to the growing criticism about Meltzer's accuracy and research methods. So particularly when it comes to major stories involving AEW, you know, it's he's trying to give them a really good story as opposed to WWE. You know, gives them the higher stars and gives WWE like whatever, right?
Like I said, paid propaganda.
Sure. All right.
That's what I never understood. Why did the fans make such a? It's like they made him who he was, because at first he was the journalist, right? Yeah. And then I feel like the bigger problem was when the wrestlers started marking out for Meltzer. Sure. Like, he's supposed to be the journalist and the fan and like reporting on what's going on. But meanwhile, they're so busy trying to, I want to get that 5-star match. I got to get this. It's no. Yep. Why? What's the big deal? What's the point?
Yep.
Why?
It's like a Rotten Tomatoes rank. You want to get the 80% of popcorn buckets and not the 50% or something. So it's like, I don't know why the marks love waiting for this rating system. I don't know. Maybe it's just in their nature now today. So so keep going along. So that's also happened in 2024. The Rock, he publicly he used public profanity, a denial claim of a Meltzer report. Basically, They reported that they suggested WWE gave him a favorable treatment when he came to cursing on the air. So remember when he came back, he started cursing on Raw and like saying all this stuff.
Of course.
So he called The Rock called that story complete horse, shit, directing it at Meltzer's claim. So
just say it. Just say it.
Just doing it for the PG rating. I don't know. So I mean, The Rock, who doesn't do anything, could care less about a dirt sheet kind of guy, publicly went on there and just called it horse crap.
But he's not the first person to call out Meltzer for like just horse caca.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody's ever listened to Bischoff's 83 Weeks,
Nope.
Conrad loves to get his history and reports of what happened that night or whatever they're discussing from Meltzer.
Yeah.
And it always sets Eric off, especially early on when the podcast first started. And that's such bullshit. Like, my favorite was when Meltzer reported that Mabel was going to be the third man of the NWO. And just the rampage that Bischoff went on and talking about how that was such horse shit was the funniest thing I think I've ever heard. But I mean, there's plenty of people over the years who have just called him out.
Yeah.
And until people stop feeding him information and take that power from him, he will be irrelevant again.
Yeah. All right. Well, so, I mean, this is still 2024. I think this next mistake, I think really drew my attention because I was like, how did he do this? So let me read what happened. Okay. He mistook a 2013 clip of The Rock and Triple H for a 2024 exchange. So the incident is where it was in 2013. It occurred in February this year, 2024. Meltzer, during a broadcast of the Wrestling Observer Radio, claimed that he had seen a clip of The Rock and Triple H having a face-to-face interaction during a press conference in 2024, possibly suggesting that it was part of a build-up to WrestleMania 40. However, it turned out that the clip Meltzer referenced was actually from 2013, not a recent event.
Was that the one in Brooklyn?
I'm not sure. So once he realized the mistake, Meltzer corrected it and removed the information from the Observer newsletter and issued an apology on air. And it's like, I could understand if it was like a year or two or whatever, but that was like almost a 10-year difference of a photo.
And if that's what I'm thinking, it was when The Rock showed up in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And then they had that face-to-face backstage, and it was, we could always have one more type of thing. Like, they kind of teased it, but it never happened.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. How stupid can you be?
And maybe it's just that father time. Maybe, he was trying to be the first person again and just didn't check what it was, or somebody fooled him again. I mean,
Dementia Meltzer.
It's a Dementia Meltzer. This is like we're not doing news. We're just doing our own opinion about what we see on TV, right? So we're not trying to be a journalist here. We're just reporting the mistakes that he did. So we're kind of like a Dave Meltzer tonight. Maybe. I don't know.
We're actual journalists. We're fact checking that, Jabroni.
But these are actual facts, right? These are actual things that happened. We're not just making it up. One other thing too, there was a point where in AEW, Jack Perry publicly disputed a report that Meltzer did. It was a report involving Jack Perry disputing, and it happened in 2024, doesn't say what month, following the infamous backstage altercation at AEW All In, known as the Brawlin', which involves CM Punk and other AEW talents. Yep. Meltzer reported that in March 25th, 2024, on the Wrestling Observer, that Jack Perry had apologized for his role in the altercation with Punk. However, Perry publicly denied Meltzer's report, stating that he had not apologized for his actions during the incident. This public dispute added to the growing scrutiny of Meltzer's reporting accuracy, particularly when it came to backstage happenings. So, once again, I don't know. He's already trying to help him out, or no, not to help him out. Maybe kind of look good, saying that he apologized. Maybe like, oh, he wasn't really, that bad. He apologized for his actions. He's like, no, I didn't apologize. So like, he's getting called out on even trying to help the AEW guys over there too. I don't know, but.
I got no comment anymore. It's just anything for clicks, dude. Whatever gets the bills paid, right? I mean, at this point, he's been in the game for so long. People are just going to naturally assume that everything he's saying is gospel, and it's not.
Yep.
A majority of what he says is probably false, unless he's just reporting on the event. This is what happened in match 1. This is what happened in match 2. Don't get me started with the star rating.
No, we're going to bring that up soon.
Oh.
But there, last other incident that happened this year, just at least in 2024, just to get them all out there, it was incorrectly reporting WWE's backstage plans with Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns. Meltzer claimed that WWE's internal plans were to keep Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns apart for the foreseeable future, implying that there would be no immediate interactions between the two in WWE. However, shortly after this report, Jacob Fatu returned to WWE SmackDown and attacked Roman Reigns directly, contradicting. I feel like Triple H was like, "Oh yeah,
you know what?
I don't know.
You know how many times people have fed him bullshit and he reports it? I guarantee you that, because here's the thing. Let's be real. He is very biased when it comes to the Japanese AEW. Like he tends to rate things that they do way better than anything that WWE does, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like he has such an axe to grind with WWE, and I don't know why, and I don't understand why, because he probably doesn't have enough stooges that will give him the quality information.
Oh, yeah,
so when he
that's
reports on they are so petty that they were like, well, if that's what you're going to report, last minute change, here's what we're going to do. Just to kill his relevancy. And I think that's a good thing. I think people like him need to be put in their place when it comes to mis or disinformation.
Yeah. So, but like just reading those mistakes that happened this year, it's not just one mistake. It was like a pattern of mistakes, from premature death reports to misinterpreted AEW memos. His just in 24, the errors have been piling up. So for someone, though, who has built a career on trust and insider information, can his credibility withstand this? I mean, is it going to be is it just too much wrong information that, okay, we don't, fool me once, shame on me, or fool me twice, shame on, or whatever it was,
I just think he's too ingrained in the politics of certain companies.
Yeah.
And again, the tribalism when it comes to, like, say, WWE fans and AEW fans.
Yeah.
The AEW fans' voice is been Dave Meltzer because he is so biased towards them. He rates everything they do so great. And I look at again, we'll beat a dead horse. We look at some of the things that he rates, and it's, again, did we watch the same thing?
I believe we looked at those all in and all out ratings, and it was like, come on.
All right, I'll give you a classic example.
Come on.
Yeah.
We're just like,
as much as I loved MJF
yeah.
versus Will Ospreay when we watched, I think that was All In,
yeah.
right? We really weren't paying attention. It didn't hold my attention. We spent more time hanging out with Shapiro's kid during that match because it was kind of a stinker to me.
Yep.
And somehow I believe that got 5 stars. I'm like, huh?
I know.
Dude, Reese Owen.
You can't hold the people's attention.
If that got 5 stars, Reese Owen got 7. You know what I'm saying?
I know it, man. I know it. So, it's just, but you know what I mean? It's like, come on, we get it now. It's like you're obviously working on the inside or something with that. But okay, so let's talk about the impact, though, on his credibility, right? So his success has been built around access to insider info, right? So
allegedly.
But if the wrestlers and fans start questioning that info, what's left, right? So we went to our Marks for Life group.
Okay.
Another wrestling group on Facebook, guys. If you're watching right now, we're going to read some comments that we had from the group, and you could kind of comment on what they said. So I showed this picture. It's Dave Meltzer in his room. And I don't know if you know the story behind it. I don't even care about it, but he's literally sitting in a room of filth of just all of his old...
It looks like a hoarder scene.
Yeah. I for some reason, he thinks it looks good. I don't think it looks like it's... You just look like you're sitting in a pile of trash, my man.
Dave, get a fucking maid.
Recycle, man. Look at all those papers
reduce,
in there.
reuse, recycle. It's good for the environment.
Oh, man, I don't know. So let's go back to the Marks group. So we have Jeff, and I hope that I'm really bad with names. You'll find out.
Just use the first name, because when you keep butchering their last names,
it's like,
stop watching.
Is it an alias? Are you trying to trick me on who it is? Okay, so Jeff, Jeff 2 times, he says, I'm sure 95% of the opinions that will be expressed will have been formed based on the rantings of such notable liars as Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff, and not based on their own independent thought.
I'm going to believe the word of the people who were there doing the booking, making the shows, writing the shows, producing the shows, as opposed to some dirt sheet writer who claims to be a journalist. I'm sorry, but yeah, you might not like those people, but they were there. He wasn't. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, so Michael Kulikowicz responded to him too. He says, name some of Bruce's lies as opposed to this clown who literally all he does is lie. And if he gets something wrong, he says plans changed. So, well, plans changed.
Mark?
So. Mark.
I agree.
But, keep going on there. We got Phil Limit 1, I like to call Phil Limitone. He said Dave Meltzer is not a journalist, caps. He's a weatherman. Most of his stories contain, but that may or may not happen. We just have to wait and see. He's guessing just like everyone else, which is, I think that's where he kind of fits in today, right?
Oh, Phil, agree. Very nice. Well done.
So we got Pete Peckney. He says, in short, Meltzer has lost touch big time. Not too much from him. James, like you said, he said he needs a maid. I guess he's just commenting on the picture too.
I really didn't see any of these beforehand.
Yeah. So Michael responds again too. He posts another comment saying the dude is a clown who has never actually been part of anything related to the business other than printing his dirt sheet opinions as facts. People feed him information he prints as the big scoop, and if it's wrong in any way, he just says, "Well, plans changed."
Yep.
So,
yep.
We could do that too. We gave our own needle ratings. I mean, nobody else is doing that out there.
That's right.
That's got to watch the AEW
This episode. 5 syringes.
5 syringes. Go back a few episodes.
Shout
guys.
out
It's
to
good.
Mike Shapiro. That was brilliant. Yeah.
Genghis Conrad. Shout out to Genghis down in New York City. He says it actually blows my mind that some people like him. So I know he's not a fan at all. We got Mike Shapiro.
There he is.
2 shows again. We got from the pantry. He says the guy has become such a parody of himself to the point I almost think he's doing it on purpose now. So do you think he's at a point maybe he's just saying stuff to just say, or no? I don't know. He really thinks it.
I think he's like Vince, who was obviously stuck in his own ways, refused to change with the times, and this is what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And he's going to do whatever it takes to survive in the business and continue to make money. At this point, I think most of the people in the group are agreeing. It's no longer journalism when you're just bullshitting.
Sure.
No,
I know. And Joseph Puglisi, he says 5-star guy,
yeah.
7 when he's in the Tokyo Dome, brother. but no, he does say, in all seriousness, he is somehow overrated, but also overhated. His star rating system has gotten ridiculous.
Yes.
He does acknowledge that though, and recognizes it. Is just a subjective opinion. He built a career in a different medium of media than what exists in today's world, but he somehow is still managing to stay relevant and be talked about. If people are willing to pay, listen, and talk about his opinions, then who are we to judge? He says, man is getting paid, presumably. To those points, I don't think it's fair to say he's not a journalist. So that's Joseph from I think Poughkeepsie. So we'll just say Poughkeepsie out there, guys. That's basically from the Marks Group. So but like going back to when you got stars like The Rock calling you out, your stories as complete horse shit.
Whoa!
Or someone like Jack Perry.
So proud. They grow up so fast, Al.
No more. We're trying to get monetized. It'll happen one day. But Jack Perry even outright disputing your version of events. It raises the important question of how much longer can Meltzer keep this level of influence in the industry, or, is it like is he staying in it too long to where nobody, he's less of what he was?
As long as people are willing to pay him, and we're not just talking about the subscribers, we're talking about promoters who use him to get their product over. If you're trying to sit here and tell me that Tony Khan doesn't write him a check,
yeah,
or whoever's running New Japan doesn't write him a check to try to open up the market so Japan can look good in America.
Yeah.
You're sadly mistaken. I'm sorry. I have no proof of that. This is just conjecture from me. I'm not reporting that as fact, Dave. But if I had to take an educated guess, that's what I think it would be.
Yep.
Just me personally. Let's talk about something else. Because I just for the haha.
Sure.
Because we were sitting there and I think we looked at the all in and all out ratings for Meltzer. We're not going through those.
Yeah.
But I came across a list from, it's wrestlinginc.com. It's from October 22.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a little dated, but a list of 12 wrestlers who do not have 5-star matches.
Oh, all right.
Okay. From Meltzer, they do not have a 5-star match. Kurt Angle. True.
Kurt Angle, what?
I thought of my favorite Kurt Angle match. was him and Benoit at WrestleMania 17. That only got 4.25.
4.25.
Him and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21 was a 4.75. That wasn't a 5-star match. Okay. Jake Roberts has never had a 5-star match. Even with his feud with Steamboat, their highest rated match on a big event was 4 stars. Okay. Mr. Perfect has never had a 5-star match. Even that SummerSlam 91 match against Brett, that got 4 stars. That's one of my favorite matches of all time.
One of the biggest matches of a decade.
Oddly enough, their rematch at King of the Ring in 93 got 4.25. But the SummerSlam 91 was way better.
Wow, that's funny. Man.
Edge, at that point, I don't know if it's updated, if he has one now.
Yeah.
He's never had a 5-star match. He had in the TLC 2, WrestleMania 17 was 4.75. He had a Hell in a Cell at Crown Jewel, 4.75 against Seth Rollins. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are on this list, but they do now have 5-star matches, and it was against the Usos, so we can take that away. Up until then, they never had a 5-star match.
Wow.
Okay?
Yep.
Eddie Guerrero never had a 5-star match.
Wow.
His match against Kurt Angle, 4 stars at WrestleMania. Yes.
4 stars.
El Desperado, never heard of him. Fuck him. Triple H has never had a 5-star match.
Not even like the match with Taker too, like how they rode off into the sunset kind of.
Funny you should say that. Taker, his highest rated matches, I want to say was Taker at 2011.
Yeah.
Okay. That was 4.5. And the Taker Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee, 4.75. Dean Malenko has never had a 5-star match. Randy Savage has never had a 5-star match. Him and Steamboat is considered one of the greatest matches in the history of WrestleMania. 4.5 stars.
Man, he won't hand out those 5 for anything.
For all you local stars out there, or all you local fans out there, RVD has never had a 5-star match. And in the Civic Center, we had RVD versus Jerry Lynn.
Yeah,
ECW,
one of the biggest ECW
Hardcore
matches.
Heaven, 1999.
Not even. What do you give it?
4.25.
4.25.
Him and John Cena at the, what was that? One Night Stand? 2006. 4 stars.
I would love to just watch him watching.
So that's the list of 12 wrestlers that have never gotten one. Oddly enough, for some reason, I didn't know if Shawn Michaels had a 5-star match.
Sure.
Because they keep saying that him and Taker at 25 and 26 was not a 5-star match, and they should have been.
Damn.
Both those were at 4.75. But he does have 2 5-star matches. Maybe more, but these are the only ones I can find. WrestleMania 10, obviously, ladder match. Razor Ramon. And the very first Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood against The Undertaker was a 5-star match. Also the debut of Kane. So, yeah.
Wow. Oh, it's like I feel like he's like the emperor. Like nobody gets 5. You know what I mean? Like until that one person does, and then meanwhile he hands them out like on every episode of
Dynamite.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Let me tell you what happened on Dynamite After Dark. You know, the YouTube, but get the what the fuck are we doing?
So, you know, at the end of the day, Meltzer, you know, he's been the go-to source for decades, but I think 2024 he finally has met his match, I guess. It's been a turning point, at least, of people just kind of like taking him apart brick by brick, if you will. You know, because I think the mistakes now are just starting to overshadow his reputation, because I feel like all they're going to talk about is he didn't give all these guys 5-star matches, or, you know, all these mistakes of reporting news, and now he doesn't have like a good legacy, I guess, to end on. I don't know.
I think that's fair. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between journalists and dirt sheets. It's the difference between a regular reporter and a tabloid, right?
Yeah.
I think most people consider him a tabloid at this point.
Sure.
And I think there are a section of the fans who actually do enjoy, you know, the little backstage stuff, or, you know, ruining. How do you feel about dirt sheets just in general, as opposed to just reporting on events and what happened?
I like to see if there's like a real news story happen, not like, oh, somebody's missing backstage at AEW. This, like, I don't care. Like, I want to, like, did somebody get hurt? Did I miss some big kind of finish? Now I got to go watch Raw or something. Like, I look for that kind of news. The gossip, I'm like over with. I don't care who broke up with who did what, whatever.
I got to a point where I started to hate the dirt sheets, and I just started like deleting groups and shit like that. Like,
Is it spoilers though, or no?
I think what turned me off was the spoilers, and it was one time in particular that was the last straw for me. Was Royal Rumble Day, and I think it was in Boston, and it was when Diesel was going to be a surprise entrant.
Yeah.
Right? And by some hook or crook, I don't know how I came across it. I wasn't actively looking for it, but it was Kevin Nash was spotted in Boston. And I'm just like, dude. Like, seriously? That just took all the shit out of the pop that I would have had in my living room and enjoyed the good time. And that's when I just stopped, like, E-Wrestling News, bye. Bill Apter, bye. Observer, I never watched you or listened or read you anyway, bye.
And now it's just social media too, like Facebook, a tweet, a Twitter, Instagram post, a story, or whatever. People want to be the first person to say it just because, oh, I was the first. I said it first before you said it.
Oh, and you know what's even worse than that? You know what's even worse than that?
Yeah.
Wrestling podcasts. I fucking hate wrestling podcasts. There's just so many. It's just so like, dude, bro, how redundant can we be at this point?
I mean, if you're listening to all these other podcasts, you know, the best time to listen is to just, you know,
don't even listen to me. I'm just loud and
podcast.
obnoxious. Just cut me the off now.
Well, we do encourage our listeners to share their thoughts if they're listening out there about Dave Meltzer. You know, but you know, that's it. You know, from the dirt sheets to social media, it's spoiled being a wrestling fan sometimes because you go to watch Royal Rumble to not know who's going to come out. But then when you start seeing like, oh, guess who's backstage? I'm like, now I don't want to follow your page anymore. Like, stop being the first to report things. Like, give it a weekend.
Be
give
the
it a
first to
week.
report after it happens.
I know.
It's like
thanks. I just unfollowed you because now I'm not gonna. I don't want to watch your. I don't want you ruining my stuff anymore.
Social media has ruined everything.
I know.
Could you imagine the movie Psycho coming out during the age of social media, and that ending just being spoiled?
Yep. I'm saying that's it. Social media is the demise of our civilization. But don't forget to like us and subscribe. Follow. Gotta plug it too, right? This is if you don't write a review, they're not gonna know. So
Sal, cut him the off. We're done.
Like, follow, subscribe, share it, tweet it, TikTok it. We're out there. I don't know.
TikTok it?
That's it. There's no Meltzer anymore. There's only TikToks.
You're really old, bro. You're so brat.
I gotta pull my pants up higher. I'm getting too old.
All right, cut him off. Hey, Ma, let me ask you a question.
What?
What do you think of Dave Meltzer?
I don't want to talk about it.
Why?
This will be the one time I have to agree with Frida.
Why is that?
Because I'm not f***ing obsessed with the Japanese.